The Green Knight trailer dropped a little while ago, and it's for a movie about an overachieving knight that's on the round table and asks just how far will one man go to get ahead in life. I'm the Beardo, and this is a trailer I just watched. I like to talk about movies. I like to talk about trailers for movies. Let's talk about this one. The Green Knight is a movie that's going to be coming out from A24 Studios. It's about the poem Gawain and the Green Knight, but before we break down the trailer, let's break down the poem. So the poem is sort of a weird mix of Irish, English, Welsh, and French folklore sort of motifs. So the main gist of the story of Gawain and the Green Knight goes like this. Arthur and his knights are sitting around the round table when the Green Knight shows up. Now, depending on which story you go with, the Green Knight could be everything from a giant man who just wears a lot of green, to a glowing green dude, to a giant tree-like creature that also happens to be green. It seems like the main idea is that he's a giant green knight. Anyways, he shows up and he challenges everybody to a contest of combat. He says anybody that can land a blow on him can win his axe, but in a year he gets to come back and return the favor. Everybody at court sort of just looking at each other when Arthur's about to stand up. Then a small voice comes from back of the crowd saying, "I'll handle this," and it turns out to be Gawain stepping up and taking one for the team. Now, it's not really clear if they actually have combat. It makes it seem like more or less that they just trade blows. Either way, Gawain's kind of an asshole and he cuts the dude's head off. The Green Knight laughs it off, stands up, grabs his head. He's like, "I'm gonna be back in a year, you dick," and takes off. So a year goes by and Gawain's been on some adventures. The story doesn't really cover what the adventures are, outside of that in that time he's been looking for the Green Chapel, which is where he's supposed to meet the Green Knight and pay up. Along the way, he comes across a castle. When he meets the Lord and the Lady of the castle, he tells them all about this weird bargain he's got going on, and the Lord's like, "Hey, I know the Green Knight, he's kind of a dick. Hey, since it's a couple days before you have to go meet up with this guy and I know the path to get you there, why don't you hang out with us?" Gawain agrees. The Lord's like, "Cool, we can have a little contest of our own." Gawain, having some kind of a gambling problem or assuming he's going to lose his head in a little bit anyways, decides he's going to go ahead and take him up on that. Contest goes like this. The Lord's going to go out hunting. Whatever he catches throughout his hunt, he's going to give to Gawain. In return, Gawain's going to give him anything that he earns throughout his day. Gawain's probably thinking, "I'm lazy as hell, this is a win-win for me," and agrees. When Gawain meets the Lord and Lady, he also notices that there's an old crone hanging out. Everybody seems to be giving her a wide berth, but a lot of respect. So the next day, the weird game begins. The Lord goes out and does his hunting. In the meantime, while Gawain's just hanging out at the castle, the super hot wife comes in and she decides she's going to try to seduce Gawain. Now, depending on which version of the story you get, the crone could or could not be watching them while the lady's trying to seduce Gawain. Anyways, Gawain's a real bro and he doesn't allow her to go any further. She's able to land one kiss. The Lord returns with his kill and Gawain gives him a kiss. And that's it. And I'm sure the Lord's like, "This isn't working out in my favor." But a deal's a deal. The next day, the Lord goes out again, and the wife's back trying to seduce Gawain. Gawain, who's still not having that shit, manages to keep her at bay, but she ends up giving him 2 kisses. When the Lord returns, they exchange meat for kisses. Day 3 rolls around. The hot lady's not taking no for an answer and goes back for more. Gawain, who probably has some massive blue balls at this point, holds her off. She tries to give him a gold ring. Gawain's not interested in that and says, "No, I can't accept this." So instead, she gives him her lady sash and says this will give you special powers and make you invulnerable to damage. Gawain, either being exceptionally polite or exceptionally gullible, takes the sash and agrees to wear it. When the Lord comes back, Gawain decides to keep the sash a secret and give him 3 kisses for the boar that he killed. The following day, it's time for Gawain to go down and meet his doom. Being a man of honor, he shows up at the appointed time, ready to take his blows. The Green Knight's there with his axe, says get down and get ready. The knight takes 2 swings that don't do any damage, which at this point I'm sure Gawain is thinking, man, that belt really worked after all. But then the third one nicks him. Gawain, realizing he's still alive, stands up and he's like, what's going on? The Green Knight stands up and he's like, I'm really the lord of the castle. That crone over there, she's really Morgan Le Fay. I don't know who the hot lady is, but you lied to me about what she gave you, and so I nicked your neck. Gawain, being all like, well, that's pretty fucked up, is probably just happy that he's still alive. In any event, the whole thing was a ruse just to test the loyalty of Gawain. So like I said, it's a weird story. It's an Arthurian myth, and most of those are super bizarre. They all typically revolve around the idea of loyalty and of testing the mettle of the men involved in the story and the women. You know, some of them pass like Gawain did, some of them don't like Lancelot didn't. Either way, they chose to make a movie about this one. So on to the trailer. They chose to go with the more mythical version of the Green Knight. He's a giant tree folk-like creature, and he comes in and challenges the court just like the poem. Dev Patel's playing Gawain. He steps forward and he takes the knight up on his challenge. As in the story, he lops off the dude's head. Knight picks up his head and rides off Sleepy Hollow style and says, "I'll be back in a year." Now at this point we get an idea of the kind of garb they're going to be wearing, the kind of style this is going to be shot in, and it looks like they're not taking a super literal approach, which I really enjoy. The clothes seem a little modern. It doesn't look like we're getting huge sets, you know, which I don't think is necessary for a story that's kind of more intimate like this. You know, this isn't big battles and wars. This is just one person's journey of honor, essentially. The limited look that we get of the sets makes it seem like that's the focus. Fast forward a little bit, Gawain and Arthur are having a little talk about the whole thing, and then we flash to Gawain grabbing his axe and heading out of town. And suddenly there's a talking fox. I don't remember that from the main story, but I also don't think it doesn't fit. It could be that was in the story and I just don't know enough about that myth to really know that it is or isn't. It definitely fits the color grading. Now, I'm not sure if this is an attempt to touch on the adventures that he goes on, but at one point some kid and some thugs take Gawain's axe and says, "I'll finish your journey for you." They don't spend a lot of time on that, but I'm going to assume that he gets his axe back and gets back on his journey. One thing about Arthurian myths is that they definitely push hard on the whole overcoming obstacles to get to the meat of your journey. The trailer sort of ends with him facing off with the Green Knight. Over the top of this, there's narration. Honor, that is why a knight does what he does, which is perfect because the Arthur legends are all about honor and upholding your loyalty and all that sort of stuff. What I can say that I got from the trailer so far is that it's very visually appealing. You know, time will tell though. I haven't seen a lot come out of A24, but the movies I have seen, Midsommar and Ex Machina, are both extremely well done. The visuals are there, the storytelling was dynamic, the characters were believable and entertaining. You became invested in their story. I'm not familiar with David Lowery, but from what I can tell, he tells a very good story. While I had no idea that I actually wanted a movie about Gawain and the Green Knight, after seeing the trailer, I can tell you that I'm really excited. For those reasons, I'm going to give this 4 out of 5 hype train. If you like the content, do the thing. I'm Beardo. Until next time.